What is the easiest route to 10K per month with an online fitness coaching offer? Right, coming into 2025 now. Well, I've got the answer. I've done it with multiple people now, even people who have never coached anyone before, starting from zero, from scratch. This is a screenshot of my client Marcus, who is now doing between 10 and 20K per month. Just after, like 3 or 4 months. Even in his first month, we're able to get into over 10K with a small audience. So in this video, I'm going to get straight into it, right? No fluff. Um, so this video is going to show you exactly what to focus on if you're a fitness professional and you want to monetize your expertise online. So how can you get to 10K per month in the most efficient way possible? It doesn't matter whether what you specialize in or where in the world you are. The approach is completely universal. And it's not just some trend, school groups, membership sites, whatever else pops out the woodwork now and again. It's a proven process that I've used with all my clients who are stuck below 3K in online coaching sales. And this allows them to scale their business up fast in a matter of weeks or months. I know you don't need to spend money on ads. You don't need to send any cold DMs, and you don't need to be a fitness influencer for this to work. Right. And just a little bit about me. If you've never watched any of my videos, my name's Kieran Errington, and I'm the founder of FitPro Consultant. We help fitness professionals build and scale an online coaching offer to 10 to 50K per month. In the last 12 months alone, my clients have generated over 700K in online coaching sales. And I've been a personal trainer myself since 2013 and also scaled 2 companies to 6 figures. Now, why 10K per month? Okay, so I think for the most part, people choose 10K per month as a goal because it sounds nice, it sounds sexy, it's a round number. However, outside the crazy expensive places, like LA, New York City, Dubai, Miami, 10K per month pre-tax will allow you to live a very comfortable life, decent car, a few holidays a year, nice apartment or house, be able to eat out whenever you want, that sort of thing. So I think that's why people like 10K a month. It isn't just this sexy round number. It's actually, probably the minimum amount of money you need pre-tax to be bringing in to actually live a genuinely really comfortable life. So that's why 10K. And after building some consistency, it enters you into that realm of not having to worry too much about money, and your ability to save and invest money is massively increased without having to make, crazy sacrifice, lifestyle sacrifices. Sorry, I can't speak. And it's a great starting point. You don't need to be Elon Musk level intelligence or work ethic to achieve it, right? 10K a month in the grand scheme of things is actually quite a low level financial goal in business. So I'm pretty sure everyone can do it, right? If they put their mind to it. You don't need to be really smart to do it. You just have to be willing to put in the work. So let's just look at the math for a second. So there are many ways to get to 10K per month with a fitness coaching offer. Each has its own pros and cons. For example, someone charging $50 per month for, a membership site, with live workouts, resources, a community and stuff would need 200 active members for this to happen. If you have a big following on social media, this can actually be a fairly good option for you. If one, you don't care about maximizing the amount of money that you can make from your audience, and 2, you want something that's maybe a little bit more passive and less demanding. However, for the most people watching this video, I'm guessing that you probably have a social media audience size of maybe between 1,000 and 20,000 people. If that's the case for you, then I strongly recommend focusing on one high ticket offer that you can sell for between $1,500 to $3,000. And the reason why this works so well is because you don't need a lot of traffic and you don't need a lot of followers to make a good living from it. Okay. So you don't need to go viral. You don't need to be this fitness influencer or anything like that. You just need a small group of people who are, invested in in your message, in what you're selling, to buy from you. Okay. So it's really not that difficult. People make it out to be that it's way harder than it actually is, that you need 100K followers to be making a good money. And it's simply not true. So clients, the good thing about high ticket is clients are more emotionally invested. So they end up getting better results. And then you get to show all those results to your audience in your marketing, which causes a snowball effect. So instead of needing a ton of new followers every month and always chasing people, you only need 4 to 6 clients per month, which is, about 10K in revenue. And you're also going to have the payment plans, which is also going to stack the monthly recurring revenue as well. So if you're consistent, you're going to have this, snowball effect, this compound interest sort of effect kicking in the more consistent you are. And getting paid in fulls is personally my favorite because it means that you have complete security over that revenue. If someone's on a payment plan, literally anything could happen, right? Personal circumstances, their level of discipline, anything could happen. You're placing a bet on that person who you don't really know to actually follow through with what they're paying you for. So that's why I like to optimize for paid in full. And I like a mix, right? Some paid in fulls, some payment plans. So then you've got that, security at the start of every month. And then you've also got the paid in fulls, which are a nice little cash flow as well. And when you reach 10K per month for the first time, you will break a lot of limiting beliefs about what you're able to achieve. And like I said before, when you actually realize that 10K per month isn't really a big deal at all, and that just starts to become your new normal because now you've done it once, you know the inputs and what it actually took to do that. You just have to keep doing that again and again, month after month. And naturally, because of the nature of social media and things like that, your followers are always growing, your views are always going up. So you get that nice compounding effect. So a question I get asked is, should I coach people for free? It's a very common question for people trying to get into the online coaching game. They don't really have much social proof or experience, and they're wondering if they should coach people for free. And I would almost never recommend this. And there's two main reasons as to why this is. When someone receives someone that requires work for free, they will almost always not value it and have the same level as, of urgency to actually see it through as if they had actually paid money for it. So what you'll find is people are not fully committed, and ultimately for a lot of people and yourself, it might be a waste of time. Not always, right? Back in the day, I did a few things for free and it did work out, luckily. But I've also coached people, like back when I was a coach and a PT, first trying to get into it, I did go down that route as well. With friends, things like that, tried to coach them for free to get some results, and guess what happened? They just didn't see it through. The second reason that is, associating yourself with free work can easily develop into a limiting belief, especially if you have experience of, if you experience rejection or people don't take it seriously. It's not always the case, but people get stuck selling low ticket prices and they end up having this limiting belief that that's all they're worth, or they end up coping by saying that they just want to be affordable. People won't pay these prices, premium prices for their service because they've gotten stuck in this low level mindset, right? And, in reality, it's their own lack of self-value. This scares them from charging more because they've been burnt, right, with these low prices or doing stuff for free. So yeah, they struggle to get out of that mindset, and you don't want to get caught in that way. So what to do instead? So something I do with clients that works incredibly well is doing a beta launch. So you're massively discounting your regular prices, but you're still actually getting people who are willing to put money down to do it. So prior to doing this, you should have already established what your regular pricing is going to be. But let's say the first 5 people, you'll let them into the program at a discounted rate. So they'll be aware of this regular price, which will spark urgency to take this opportunity that if it's genuinely something they want to do, because you can't do this forever. It's just like, you can be transparent with them as well. Like, you're only doing this to help you get clients and some results. And basically it's like a little case study phase, right? You're getting people in, the main priority is for you to get some case studies, not money at this stage. So for only 5 people, you're letting them in for this highly discounted rate. So you can get some awesome case studies, work really closely with a select few people, which will help you later with your marketing. And this method will work for anyone, whether you're on Facebook targeting friends and family, colleagues. If you've already got a social media audience, then that's brilliant. But it can work with anyone. So my client Callum was able to pick up 5 paying clients in only 14 days. And he literally had no audience, like Facebook friends and maybe like 50 Instagram followers, right? So this really does work if you do it right. So the next thing you need to think about is, choosing your niche. Now, if you're going down that route of the beta launch and you're trying to extract as much interest as possible from your current audience, you want to do that before you niche down, because when you niche down, it's going to help you more in the long run. But in the short term, it's going to limit the amount of people that you're able to target, because you're only targeting your existing audience, which obviously might not necessarily be, aimed at that niche. So you want to extract as much interest as possible from your audience, then go down this route of like choosing a niche and really start to specialize in the thing that you're most passionate about and you can help people with the most. So the best way to choose your niche is by following these criteria. So it should be something that you have overcome yourself. So you have a relatable story with the people who you're trying to target. And this way, people are going to resonate with you more. They're going to be more likely to look up to you as the person who can help them overcome the thing that they want to overcome. So it's super important to resonate with who you're targeting and you've actually done the thing that they want to do. Number 2, it should be people who you genuinely enjoy to work with and who have gotten the best results. This applies to people who are already doing some kind of service-based work. A personal trainer, for example, you're going to have the data of all the people that you've worked with, who have gotten the best results, who are the most fun people to work with. All this sort of stuff can be really powerful and can really help you craft your niche, so you know who the people who are most likely going to want to work with you, right? This is real data that you've got to work with. And number 3 is people have to need what you're selling. If it's a nice to have, you're going to struggle to sell that for a premium price. You need to be solving a big problem, okay? This is why typically, bodybuilders, they don't like to pay high ticket prices because it's just a hobby. They're probably already in decent shape. They just want someone to help them optimize. So, if they weren't to have a coach, they would probably still be in shape. They'd probably still do quite well, as it's like something they're extremely passionate about is their hobby. But let's look at another demographic, which is like people who are massively overweight. It's crippling. Like emotionally, it's such a vice, but they don't know how to get out of it. It's like such a big problem that's holding them back in so many different areas of their life, and they just don't know what to do. They're stuck. And you're the person who helps them eliminate that, right? They're the most confident that they've ever been. They're, on the beach with their shirt off. They're going on holidays and they're just so much happier. Like people are going to pay a lot more money for that offer than, a bodybuilder, for example. So it's just, something to keep in mind. And I mean, truthfully, you can make anything work, but you have to make it a no-brainer offer, and it has to be a painful problem that you're solving. Right? You have to frame it in that way. So you're going to be at a massive disadvantage if who you're targeting don't actually resonate with you. So if you're just a 20-year-old man and you're trying to target mums, right? Why are they going to resonate with you? It just doesn't make sense. They'll go to someone who's gone through what they're going through, who understands them, who has that first-hand experience. Like I just, with the luxury of online coaching, you can go to anyone. So why would you go to a young man over someone who's also a mother who's gone through the same thing, right? You just have to think, like, it doesn't make any sense. So you have to think about that. And the reason I use that as an example is because I've actually seen someone on Instagram a guy in that niche, and he wasn't doing that well. So it's like, it's kind of like it's obvious to me, but he's clearly running with it. Anyways, if people aren't even accessible online, right? They're not even online very often, or if they don't even have money to invest, or they just they don't desperately need what you're selling. These things can really, determine whether you're swimming upstream or you swimming with the current. And the best offers are one that solve really painful problems. So whichever niche you choose, you need to stick with it for the long term. Set a goal, stick with it for an entire year, post content relentlessly about this thing, and really let that compounding interest effect kick, like that momentum. You need to actually give it time for that to actually start. Because if you're chopping and changing all the time about who you're offering and your content's all over the place, you're never going to get onto that wave, right? You need to really dial in what you're doing, be consistent, and that wave will come sooner or later. I've seen it happen time and time again. Now, the next thing you need to do is understand the market. So before you start wasting your time, putting loads of effort into creating content, into stuff that you feel like might do well, there are some key elements that you need to establish. A term you need to know about is, market sophistication, which is basically describes the level of knowledge or awareness that a market has about a particular topic or product. And it's a way to measure how similar products or services have been marketed before and how experienced customers are with this concept. So in the fitness niche, everyone, it's quite a sophisticated market. So that's why you have to really niche down a little bit. You can't just say, I specialize in weight loss. You have to, kind of take it down a few levels. I help dads lose the beer belly after years of neglecting their physique, right? Things like that, where you're really speaking to someone's soul and they see you as the authority of that thing. If you're too generalized, people will just go to someone else. It's as simple as that. So you need to think about three things, the customer, the product, and the market. And so you'll always start with the customer because the customer tells you what they need. You don't make an offer before you know exactly who you're trying to target to, because you're making an offer for that person. So you need to understand the customer before you do that. Your product is just a mechanism that actually solves the problem for them, like your program, your offer. And if you want to be at an advantage, you need to know how your competitors in your niche or similar are driving traffic and sales effectively, so you can at least do that or do something better. So essentially, you're just using existing data that's on social media and research as like a guide, as like a starting point. Because why would you start here if you could start here? You can leverage someone else's experience and start here straight away instead of just having this ego going in and doing what you feel like is going to work best, but it's based off no real factual evidence. So if you do it this way, it's a lot more smart and you can jump into what's already working straight away. So there's two kind of things you need to work out here. You need to do a bit of competitor research. So like find 10 competitors who are successful, who you want to be like, who specialize in the same thing as you, which videos are popping off, which have got the most views, which have got the most comments. These are the topics that you want to be focusing on because this is the market essentially telling you, yeah, this is what we care about. These are the videos we want to see. So you need to have the awareness to actually pick those out and make videos on them and ideally make them better, right? What are the variables doing well? Is it the hook? Is it some trend of music? All these things just make your video better. Do the same topics that are already working, and you're going to have such a much smoother and quick experience getting to where you want to get to. So, and the next thing is customer research. So if you already have an audience, you can put out some story polls to identify what it is they actually need, what they're struggling with. If you don't have an audience, you need to identify where these people are hanging out that you want to target, get talking to them, get them on the phone in exchange for value. Don't sell them anything, just collect data. This is literally what I did when I first started this software. I was in Facebook groups, just talking to people, just doing outreach and talking to them, not trying to sell them anything, just trying to figure out like what the biggest problems were, like are. Because obviously I've been a PT and an online coach for a very, very long time, but I did take a slight break where I was focusing more on my e-commerce brand and I was scaling that. That's what got me back into business marketing and sales. And I thought maybe I can help personal trainers. So the first thing I did was I wanted to figure out what their biggest problems were, because I didn't want to just assume that the problems I had were the same as everyone else. Right? You've got to speak to a big pool of people and see what the common themes and patterns are. And if you just steamroll ahead and you ignore all this stuff, you're just going in blind and you could potentially waste a ton of time and effort. Because we all know that work ethic isn't everything. That's one element, but you have to put the work ethic into the right vehicle and to the right things, or you're just going to end up wasting all your time, right? You don't want that. Now, things that you need to succeed. So when trying to get to 10K per month, you should understand that you don't need to worry about everything that you could possibly do. It actually is very simple. In fact, it all really comes down to eliminating as much as humanly possible and identifying the actions that are going to give you the biggest return on investment on your time. So it all really comes down to focusing on the right things and work ethic. Like you can really just brute force your way to 10K per month. You don't need any crazy systems or software, or you don't need to run ads or anything like that. It really just comes down to eliminating the shit that's not going to get you to your goal and then having the work ethic to actually focus on the things relentlessly that are going to get you to your goal. So shiny object syndrome is your enemy. And this is probably the thing that holds people back the most, I would say, because they're seeing, the way I think of it is like, remember when you didn't really have a clue what you were doing when it came to like fitness and stuff? And you've seen all this information online about nutrition and training from 101 different sources. They're all telling you different things. It's a complete minefield. And it really is the same with business as well. And a lot of personal trainers don't have the time to just be researching business, marketing, and sales all the time. But you kind of do need to have a bit of a passion for it. So what ends up happening is they're taking all these different nuggets from different places. They don't necessarily all work together, and they just end up getting overwhelmed with all the information, and then they end up not doing anything about it. So there'll be a lot of like opportunities, but unless you've got the knowledge and the experience to understand and pick out which things are genuinely opportunities and which ones are just like the business gurus just trying to sell you their thing. So, things like fat loss pills, fad diets that people without the right foundational knowledge would just jump into thinking that this is the next best thing. It grabs your attention and makes you think that you found a shortcut. And it's exactly the same with business, right? Everyone's just trying to market their thing. You need to have the focus and certainty to follow one path religiously until you reach your goal without getting distracted. And honestly, this is the reason why, when you invest in someone like a mentor or something like that, actually the biggest benefit is having that clarity that that every single action in front of you is proven to work. It works, and that means all you need to do from there is execute, and that can be really powerful, because that means if you've got your focus dialed in on something that works, then the only thing holding you back from there is yourself, right? If you just don't do the work. So here's a kind of bird's eye view of kind of what to focus on. It all comes down to traffic. You need eyeballs on your offer. That's the sort of the first principle. You need to get in front of people so they can come to your profile and get them into your funnel. So TikToks, Reels, YouTube Shorts, these things are awesome for generating views. And then from there, it's really up to you as to what you do with those people, because they're gonna come onto your page and you can direct them whenever you want. What I recommend is getting them to YouTube, man. Like, YouTube is so powerful. If people are watching 20 to 30 minute videos of you at a time, they're going to get so nurtured, and they're eventually going to buy your stuff if they need it. So getting them to YouTube, right, getting them to a VSL, or even just other YouTube videos. And this is where most of your inbound calls are going to come from. And then what happens with me and my clients is you actually get followers from YouTube as well. Okay. Your TikTok and Reels, obviously that's the bulk of your followers, but people will actually come from YouTube as well. All these people are going to be watching your future Reels, your stories, where you're going to be just continually nurturing them. They're just going to be seeing you like 5 times a day. Then you're going to be doing the call to actions as well, right? And this all results in like a conversation eventually. Damn it. This all results in a conversation eventually. Okay. More nurturing, and it all comes back to this magic call. Okay. You have to be getting people onto calls if you want to sell people for good money. If you're just doing a checkout page, you're going to be leaving a ton of money on the table, right? If you've got a website that's got 150 options, people are going to get distracted. They're not going to give a shit. You want one path for people to follow, and that path leads towards the offer that you want to sell the most. So just focus on that one thing. And this is how people are getting to 10K per month very easily, because they're selling one high ticket offer. So yeah, all this stuff, like you're promoting your YouTube videos on your story, and eventually you're just going to be getting calls. And if not, you're going to be booking people into calls manually from the conversations that you're generating. Okay. And if they don't close, well, they're still in this ecosystem, and they will eventually, right? If they actually genuinely need what you're selling, and they like you, then there's, people, whether it takes 1 week, 3 months, or 6 months, I've seen all, right? Some people just take very long to buy in something. Some people are ready to go very quickly. And when you get client results, that then goes back into your market, and then, you get that snowball effect, like I said earlier. So content. So obviously looking at that bird's eye view, right? We can really break that down into a few things, and I'm going to go over them right now. So obviously content, right? That's how you're generating the traffic. So without content, you've got no eyeballs on your offer, and it only takes one good post to get in front of thousands of people, to get those people to your profile. And the role is simple. You need to show up consistently to an exclusive group of people, right? You're niche down, like you're talking to the same person every time. Show them why, you and your program is the best solution on the market to solve their specific problems. Don't try and please everyone. Do not try and please everyone, because one person might be a good fit for you, and you're solving other problems that aren't relevant to them. And now they think that you're not actually the master of the thing that they want, because you're a generalist, and you've got your finger in a lot of different pies instead of being the master of one pie. And they have the luxury to easily search Instagram for the coach who specializes the most in the transformation that they're looking to achieve. So why would they waste their money on a generalist? They're going to go to the guy who is the shit hot and who's mastered that thing, right? Because they want to get the result. They want to have the best opportunity of getting the result that they desire. And yeah, so if you're talking about stuff that they don't care about, that's just taking up mental resources away from you, the coach, from the areas of expertise that they require. So remember that. Master one transformation, make content about it, and your perceived value in the marketplace will be much higher, right? Assets. What are assets? Assets are like slightly more valuable versions of like short form and other forms of content. Think like lead magnets, or VSLs, or guides, case studies. Not just your daily uploads, but things that take a little bit more time. But these things really pre-sell your audience on what you sell. By having a lot of valuable resources, you'll be able to turn strangers into clients at a much, much faster rate than if you were to just post reels all the time. And it's funny because there's still a lot of coaches who are just on Instagram, and it's crazy. So this one video for me has probably resulted in over 25 booked calls for my business. And it's increased my close rate massively. For the people who watch it the whole way through, I'm probably closing like 60 to 70% of people who get on the call. And that's, so this video probably has like 5K views. I experimented with YouTube, like promoting it. Got like 20 booked calls in 4 or 5K views. Tried to promote it to the same kind of audience. Now it's at 13K. And those extra views, I spent probably £200, and that got me 0 booked calls. So yeah, fuck you, YouTube. That's all I've got to say about that. Anyways, sales assets, get them made, get them promoted, and watch what happens to your leads and your close rate. Outreach. So coaches are still leaving a ton of money on the table and people's problems unsolved. People are shy, right? You have to be proactive. People aren't just going to naturally want to reach out to people because that's not normal. Okay. As a coach, if you're, outreach is a very normal concept. The average person doesn't reach out to people that easily. You've got to remember that. So they were too scared to send. So coaches are too scared to send a friendly little warm message saying what's up. And it results in them leaving a ton of money on the table. But think of it this way, like if you were to send out 10 messages to new followers and you were able to help just one of them, then isn't that worth it? I think it is, right? If you're passionate about helping people, why would you care about the people who don't really who aren't bothered about your message? But, it's still worth it because you get to help a few people as well. If they aren't interested, who cares? At least you know that you took action and you were proactive about it. So for a fact now that they aren't interested. You can just put them to one side and focus on the people who are interested. So think about outreach like casting a wide net into the ocean. You're maximizing the amount of fish that you're able to catch. Whereas if you're just posting content and waiting for people to land in your DMs, it's like sitting there with one little fishing rod, right? Just waiting. So when you have a proven framework to follow that works, that just means you need to get as many people in your inbox as possible. So if you can manually, brute force your way and just do outreach with it. Remember, it's warm DMs. It's not cold DMs. People who have shown interest in what you're doing, followed you, and now you're just making contact. You just see it saying what's up. And if they want to have a chat, then, you give them the opportunity to do that. So you can literally hop in the DMs, like when you're doing this at scale, like when you've got a few thousand followers, you can literally just hop in the DMs for 1 to 2 hours if you feel like making more money. All right. Don't sleep on outreach. If you get good at it, you can make a ton of money. So sales. Another highly underrated skill that personal trainers and fitness coaches are not learning is sales. So the most important skill for any service-based business besides the service itself is sales. Like when you're good at sales, you close more deals. And then when you are closing a higher percentage of deals, you can then raise your prices. So if you're still stuck at selling 200 to 300 per month packages, it's probably because you've got limiting beliefs or you're not very good at sales. So here's a simple skill development process to follow to get better at sales. So actually follow a set framework on calls that is proven to work. Don't just improvise, or there's going to be no consistency, right? You're not going to be able to identify which parts need adjusted, things like that. Learn how to handle every single objection in your niche. Write it down, document it, practice over and over again, saying it out loud until it feels completely natural. Record your calls using software like Fathom.video and review them. Like, where do you feel like it went wrong? Like, what could you have said at this moment or that moment or at the end? You need to think about it. You need to analyze it. And obviously use a sales tracker to record your calls. And from doing this, having the bird's eye view, you can identify patterns. Because what happens is if you just don't record, if you don't track your calls, then a call happens, you forget about it. Call happens, you forget about it. And you're not necessarily getting better if you're doing that. However, if you use a tracker, now you've got this bird's eye view of what's going on in your sales process. And just always be thinking, what could you do better next time? And if you're closing people on calls, it could literally be the difference between getting to 10K per month in 10 calls versus 20 calls. Sales is a huge deal. And it's such a needle moving skill, and one that most very, very wealthy business owners are good at. Okay. Next is habits. So habits will make or break you in the quest for 10K per month. So following on for what we discussed earlier and the things you need to succeed, you need to be doing the highest return on investment tasks consistently over a long period of time. Habits like ice baths, journaling, meditation, reading, etc. It's not about those things. In fact, the more habits that you include in your daily routine, the harder it's going to be to adhere to that routine as a whole. So a lot of the time, these things are actually just distractions from the work that you should be doing. You want to build a routine of habits that directly help you reach your goal, right? When you set this business goal and then you break it down into smaller chunks, how does ice baths and journaling come into that? It doesn't really. You're just convincing yourself that it does. Break your big goal down into specific actions that directly correlate to getting to that goal. Okay. And then focus on them goals. You're only going to have like 3 or 4 habits if you do that. And it's going to be much easier to stick to. So, it's no good starting your important tasks after 4 to 5 pointless tasks. Because how long are you really going to keep that up for? Like, let's be honest. So just as an example routine. So exercise for 20 to 30 minutes, get your brain engaged and clear. Now that's the only thing I do recommend. All these little trend habits are bullshit. But if you focus on your health and your business, that's the winning recipe right there. So exercise, okay? Get your mind sharp, first thing. Respond to all clients and DMs. Those things that you just wake up to, clear them at the start of the day. Plan YouTube video structure, plan IG video structure, and then record it the next day. Plan YouTube, planning content and recording content should be the bulk of what you're doing if you're an online coach, because you're basically a glorified content creator who knows how to monetize their audience. Send your warm DMs. Talking to people is probably the most needle moving task, I would say, because that's how you're actually booking calls. Okay, you're going to take the calls, but do your creative work, the stuff that takes the most creative energy, first thing. I find personally that works best. Then you can take the calls in the afternoon, update your trackers and do your admin, your easy tasks in the evening. Plan the next day so you have clarity going into the next day, and get a good night's sleep. Very, very important. Now, how long will this actually take? This is the question everyone wants to know, as they have the attention span and perseverance of a goldfish. So if you relentlessly run this machine and make it your life mission to get good at all these skills and cut out all the distractions and trend habits, and I've seen it happen many times with clients who's starting from zero with no coaching experience, do it within, as little as 4 months. Even less than that if you do have a small audience to work with. My client Marcus, for example, and Jonathan. Marcus, over 10K in 3.5 weeks, but he had a small YouTube following, like 10K. Jonathan, he had, a few thousand Instagram followers. We got him to 12K per month in 60 days. So, but if you're starting with a very small audience, no coaching experience, no social proof, 4 months is realistic. If you actually, put the work in, get that momentum going. Bear in mind that they are following a proven blueprint with everything laid out in front of them, saving themselves months and if not years of mistakes. That's also something to bear in mind as well. Like, if you make the right investment, get on the right path, then all it comes down to is you executing. But if you want to try and figure everything out yourself, then you have to worry about actually executing and making all the mistakes and everything else that comes with not having a clear and proven path to follow. Doubt, like loads of stuff. Okay. I remember in my other business, I didn't hire anyone. I didn't have a mentor. And it took me, a good 2 years to actually get to a good spot. However, in this business model, I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to invest in someone straight away. And I was at 10K in a matter of months. So it just depends if you value your time or your money. I mean, if you value your time, then you're going to use money to buy back your time. But also if you value money, it just makes a lot more sense to take one step back and like 3 steps forward. Anyways, so let's just say 4 to 24 months, depending on how you decide to use your time and resources, right? Okay. Because it is going to vary massively depending on what route you decide to go down. And that appears to be all for this video. So if you've got any questions, let me know in the comments, give me a follow on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video.